welcome back to another episode of Michael's Backyard Marina. That almost got me. We're back out here in the banana. I know I haven't been getting a lot of views on the banana, but it's the content I'm putting out, folks. But it is what it is. So I'm going to show you some more progress we've made. Don't forget your hour a day. Do what makes you happy. I've already been out here for over an hour. I actually just started the clock 44 seconds ago, just for funsies. But you know how I was talking. Let me get you. Where's my stuff? So I had the ignition switch on the last one that I was trying to ponder. Where do I want to put a hole in my boat, you know? And I didn't want to. And then when I was editing the last video, I'm like, genius. It came to me. So this was the bracket that was there. As you can see, there's no more switch in it. This was the wire that I've removed so far. That had all the connections on the ends for the switch. So what I did, there was a choke hole. Where a choke would be, this is a key switch now. Let me get you, see I've got a heat shrunk, crimped and heat shrunk some ends, new ends on, shorten it up. Heat shrunk this, got a little loop here. Let's call it a service loop here going around. So I've got some extra wire if I ever need it for whatever reason. But yeah, we've got the key switch right here now. So it's just like it's always been there. I thought that was as good a spot as any. This thing here has a, what is that? What is this thing? Goes right there, goes down there, goes up under, back here, and around. And yeah. So I believe this is a kill switch. So I can, you know, when you're on, you can turn it off this way, or you can hit the kill switch, but you still want to make sure you turn the switch off. But anyway, I thought that was kind of a neat place. Now this outboard has never had a choke on it, as long as I've had it. And it's always started just wonderfully without a choke. So I'm going to continue to do that. This had a piece of rubber grommet that was dry and hard and brittle. So I just cut that rubber out, and that switch fit right in there. So then I put me a little paint pen mark here to know where I went. And then I put all my colors, yellow, white, black, and green. I wrote W, you know, Y, B, and G on there so I knew how to wire it back up. But anyway, that's I'm pretty tickled with that setup. That keeps the holes from me putting any more holes on the boat, which is awesome. Now, what else have we done here? Oh, I want to show you guys the lighting that we put in on the last video. I never had it dark enough to show you what that floodlight would do for brightness. And I can throw some of this away. So I got some aluminum scrap, some wiring that can go away. The only bad thing about this particular wiring is it was not and is not tin coated. That's okay. Okay, we're going to turn all the lights off in the shop. Now, it's pretty dark out here except for the garage door opener light. And you guys can see those two lights off in the distance. That's on the other side of the yard. And we're going to turn on, here again, I've got the lights on. And one guy made a comment, which I agree with. So yeah, you can see the bow lights here, the red and the green there. He was wondering, is this light going to wash out my bow lights? Absolutely will. So now, let's show you what it looks like outside here. I get the right switch. So as you can see here, you can barely see the house. But as soon as you light it up, you can see quite a ways out there in front of you. So the house is getting a lot of the light right now. But that makes it easy to see a boat ramp or see the water in the metered area in front of you. And yeah, it absolutely will wash out this bow light. Let's take a look at that. So as you can see from this angle, it's pretty bright and you cannot see that bow light. But that's okay. Because honestly, what I'd be using this light for mostly is navigating some waters that are some backwaters and stuff like that. I'm not worried about other people being able to see me. Well, being able to see the red green so much. Now let's look at, so now you can see the interior light here. I'm gonna wait till the garage light goes out and I'll show you how much this lights it up in the dark. Okay, I know you guys can barely see me, but without the distraction of the overhead garage light, we'll turn these lights on. So yeah, you can see the green up there. Now you can see how much you can't see and then how much you can see. With 6 of these LED interior lights that are green. And then we also got pure darkness, and then I can see in front of it. Now let's get the lighting back on in this joint. There we go. That's much better. But I thought I'd show you guys the lighting and what my goals were and talk on a couple of topics that people had questions on, you know, which is fine. Now, the other cool part about what I did to this boat is I do have a pretty tall bimini top. This bimini, when it's up, I can clear my head when I'm standing in the bottom floor. Maybe not so much when I'm standing on this upper deck here, but down there I can walk around and not worry about hitting my head on the bimini. I intentionally bought a tall one for that purpose because I wanted to have the clearance. It still blocks a lot of the sun in the summertime, which keeps some of the heat off of you. So one other thing I got to do here. So you can see these guideposts here. I just readjusted this one so it was up closer to the boat. And I've already shortened that one up over there. I'm going to shorten this one up. Because, yes, this is tall and it sticks way up out of the water. But I don't need it to stick that far out of the water. There again, to each his own. So I put a mark here 13 inches above the boat here. This boat will not draft a lot of water, so this trailer doesn't have to go crazy deep in the water. As long as I can see the tips, I can guide the boat between them. And I got my handy dandy little bandsaw here, so I can just cut it right off. Oh, right in the face almost. Then we got this cap. Pops right back on there. There we go. Plus, taking that extra height off there keeps this thing from really catching a lot of wind and whipping around and bouncing around too much. So, I like that a lot. That's going to be nice. Okay. What's next on the list of to-dos? So, we got that taken care of. The only thing I want to do now is I still want to clean up this gas. I thought about putting a bigger gas tank on here. This is a 6-gallon, and it typically, if I run 18 miles, and this is what I know this because I've done it. If I run 18 miles on this boat motor, outboard motor, wide open, it'd take about 5 gallons to go 18 miles. 2-strokes are not known for their efficiency. I know that. I know. So, what else? Well, the interior of the boat I'm calling, let's just call it pretty much done. There's not anything else I want to do to this other than clean my gas tank up because it got kind of filthy, set it back down in here and be done with that. I want to clean up. In this video, I'm going to show you how I got it down to this. Now this is some primer coming through from the silver paint because it had this kind of camouflage all over it. So I'm going to show you how I get rid of that. And I'm not trying to make this brand new, but I can get it looking more factory. I can actually see this now. It says 521 cc's. That's a factory sticker. And I don't remember if I told you guys. I don't think I did the year on this particular one. If you ever wonder if you're missing the tag, that's normally somewhere around this area here. Another place to find your information would be right here. Let me see if I can get a light on it. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me see if I can get it on here. There's a little silver button right back there, right where that light's shining. It's a little frost plug cover. That has serial number on it. And that serial number will have the same serial number that was on your tag that used to be attached somewhere, like right here. You see the place where the tag used to be, and it's gone. But I can look up that serial number, and it will tell me everything about that boat. Just go on to marineengine.com, type in that serial number. It'll pull up, it'll tell you what year it is, it'll tell you what horsepower it is, and all that fun stuff. So if you ever need to do that. I don't remember the year on this one. I think it's in the 80s. I'll look it up later, maybe. No promises. I'm not that curious. So this particular outboard, if nobody saw it when I acquired it, what had happened is a guy had bought it and put a lot of money into it. He put, I think, one new coil pack on it. I think this was fairly new at the time, and then just messed around with it and couldn't get it to run. Well, what had happened is there are some airbox, what was it? Yeah, there were some screws that he got backwards. Because these 3 screws here hold it together. There's these 2 screws here. That's what it was. These 2 screws here versus a couple other screws that are not on here anymore. I think this originally had an airbox on it that I've taken off. But anyway, the screws that hold on the airbox up here versus here. Well, there's one long screw. There's 2 longer screws here, 2 shorter screws here. And what he had done is gotten the one long and one short back here. Well, if you don't seal off this gasket behind here, this is your fuel pump. If you don't seal that gasket off nice and tight, you will not pump any fuel. All I did is, and they put some time into this thing because they did a beautiful paint job on the hood. As you can see here. It is a nice look. It's dirty right now, but it is a nice looking hood. So they put a lot of effort into that and never got it running. So I picked it up as a non-running motor, I think for $250. It's more than I wanted to pay, but because of the hood and it looked pretty clean overall, I paid up a little bit for it. I got home, swapped out one of these screws with one of these screws that were in here, and lo and behold, runs like a champ. Fired right up, ran smooth, did everything it's supposed to do. And I've been using it that way ever since. Now, I took the airbox off because you don't need it. It's not very noisy with the airbox off of it. And I've got that hood insulated that you can't see right now. That hood is insulated. So it helps cut down some of the noise from the intake. But anyway, a little history on that guy. Oh, okay. I think what I want to do now is I want to jack this trailer up because I've preached and preached and preached. One of the most important parts of your fishing rig is your trailer. Because if that trailer blows a tire, seizes a bearing, breaks an axle on the way to or from the lake, it can leave you with all your precious cargo on the side of the road with no means to get it home. And nobody likes that. That's just a bad day when that happens. So it's time. You can see that this wheel bearing here has been slinging some grease on my wheel, which is great. That's fine. I don't mind grease. I don't like water getting in there and causing rust. What's the other thing we got going on here? So with everything wired up, and I got my Minn Kota trolling motor here, I've got this breaker right here. Let me show you. I don't know if you heard that, the beep, 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 beep. That means the trolling motor is now on. I can push this, and it shows me I got full-on batteries here. As it wears down, there's less battery. But I got full batteries there. And then we'll power on my... This has gotten kind of dirty. I need to clean it up. Well, turn that on. We hit OK. And boom, we're ready to rock. I can do whatever I want here. Let's turn that on. Now I'm just hitting. That's 50. And that's all the way wide open. And then I can. Now the cool part about this particular trolling motor, and this is the feature that I love the most about it, is this little anchor button. When you hit that, what that does is it will anchor you on a spot. It'll keep you within about a 3 feet or 3 meters, or I think it's actually a lot pretty tight. This thing will automatically GPS lock and keep you within that location of your boat. So I have an anchor here because you're required to take one. And I'll have to tell you, there is one time I needed it because I was on a river and my big Cobalt and I couldn't get the doggone thing to start. And it was running. I take that back. It was running, but and my son was with me that day. We got it on the river in a offshoot channel in the Mississippi, and I had it running. Pulled it off the boat trailer. We went. My son went and parked the tow vehicle in the trailer, and then he went to get on, and I was like trying to go back up to the ramp, and it died. And when it died, we were running at about 2.5 mile an hour water in the side channel, and lo and behold, the boat's going downriver. It's heading that way. And so I tried to start it, and before I got in any trouble, I took my anchor and threw it out, and it's like, and I'm dragging it, and I'm like, come on, baby, bite. And it finally bit and held me in place until I figured out what was going on and got it started and got it running again, and then went back up, grabbed my son, and we went out on the river. There's a whole other story longer than this. But anyway, the anchor did come in handy. It did save my butt that day. No question about it. So I see why you should have an anchor. Because you can be in a strong wind and have something happen. And the wind can blow you in an area you don't want to be in. So being able to anchor. But I only use that as an emergency backup. This bad boy here is what I use to lock myself onto a fishing hole. All right. I think next we're going to jack this thing up, get the wheels off of it, and we repack some wheel bearings, see what the condition of the bearings are, and repack them. A lot of times, as much as you try to protect things and do things right, some moisture will still get in there, because you take this boat and you run it down the highway, you get the bearings, let's just call them warm, not hot. They just get warm when they run. A lot of times I don't have any temperature in my wheels, in my hubs. I'm always checking them to see if there's any temperature in there. Usually no temperature, but you go from outside, let's call it 80-degree air, and you dump it into a 60-degree lake. It can suck moisture in. It can condensate stuff inside there. That's what metal does. All right, let's get the jack out and pick it up and put it on jack stands so I can work on the wheels. So I didn't want to bore you with the putting the thing back together, but I did want to let you know that I needed some new cotter pins, so I bought assortment. I got a box here and a box here I got from Harbor Freight. Reasonable price. There again, I'm not looking for a very expensive cotter pin. I'm not looking for a grade 1000 steel or something like that. I just need something that's pliable enough to stick through the hole, bend relatively easily, and so on and so forth. So that's why I got these. I do have stainless ones, but they're a little stiffer for this particular application and a bit overkill for the application as well. So let's get down here and I'll show you what I'm doing. Now when it comes to a cotter pin, sometimes like this one here, it's way long. It's a lot more cotter pin than I need, which is fine. And if they're soft enough, you can actually just snip them off to the length you need, so you don't have all this extra cotter pin to deal with. And the whole idea behind this cotter pin is to keep the nut from spinning backwards, right? Now in this case, on the right hand side, it would want to grab and spin forward typically, and it could over tighten, burn up your bearing. On the other side with the right hand thread, if it wasn't for this, it could actually, some pressure could cause it to spin and spin off, and then your wheel goes bouncing down the highway. So, and you want, on this particular one, it's a different animal just for the simple fact that it has a this is a 1-inch axle. So there's not a lot of extra room in here to get the job done and not have it rub on the cap. So I'm trying to get this thing twisted around in here so I can bend it up and out of the way and not be in the way of the cap. Then when it comes time to put the bearing cap on, what I like to do is put a little bit of grease around here, the same grease I'm using inside the wheel bearing. And what that helps, this little metal cap form a little bit of a seal. Now I've got a piece of PVC pipe that fits directly over this and pushes right on that flange, so I can install this without damaging the cap. And a lot of times you'll see these all beat up. Well, it distorts things and actually helps ruin the seal that this naturally can create. Now normally, you know, I don't know, you guys, I like bearing buddies are fine. I haven't been a big fan of bearing buddies. I've seen just as many rusty bearings behind bearing buddies as I have this style of cap, but that's also due to, let's call it lack of maintenance, right? All right, we can put the tire back on now that we got everything back together. And as you can see, it's a lot cleaner than it was because I cleaned it. And you're probably wondering, why aren't you putting Never-Seez on that? Well, because I've done it several times and there's still plenty of residue left. Then obviously I'll tighten these down enough to set it on the ground, and then I'll retorque it once it's on the ground. Wheel bearing jobs aren't the most exciting jobs on planet Earth, but they're necessary evil if you don't want to be left sitting by the side of the road waiting for your buddy to come get you, or somebody to come get you, bring you a spare tire, or having to leave your stuff on the side of the road with all your fun in it for somebody else to take advantage of while you go get yourself a wheel bearing or something of that nature to get you back on the road again. Another source of pain on this trailer for me has been, since I've owned it, is the fact that it has an 1 7/8 ball while all my other trailers have 2-inch balls. Alrighty, we're back to this part of the boat, where the outboard, where I want to get some more of this camouflage paint off of here. You know, it's ideally we'd repaint this whole thing, but as you can see, somebody camouflage painted stuff because I think hiding their motor will hide their whole boat. I don't know. There's reason for this camouflage, and I don't hunt this kind of stuff that I hunt with a boat, so I don't know. You know, I get it. You have to hide. So what I've done, I've got some 4/0 steel wool here, and what I am able to do is it will slowly remove the stuff. Because you've seen a lot of the YouTubers that do car stuff, they'll take 4/0, this is 4 zeros, 4/0 steel wool, and they'll clean up chrome bumpers, and it'll take the rust off the bumper and make it look good again. That doesn't remove the pitting and the underlying issues as to why it's doing what it's doing, you know, rusting. But it will disguise it for a while, and then you can put some wax to protect it. But you can see this is gonna, takes a little elbow grease, not much, but you can work it just enough to get rid of the green or the camouflage paint that somebody just, you know, loosely sprayed over the top of this. There again, I'm not making a showboat here, guys, not by any stretch, but it would be nice if it was, you know, less of this on here. And looks just a little more clean. Now all I'm using is water here. And see that little dot right there where my finger's at? I can just work it till it's gone. And it's a tedious process. It's not any fun. But is a way to get it to look a little different than it did. As you can see there, folks, we got her pretty cleaned up here. I wasn't trying to get 100% of it off, but I also wanted to show you something I discovered while I was in here messing around. And this here, well, let's see if I can get it. See how this rocks right here? Get you in a little closer so you can see the action that's happening. Watch right down in here. See how that rocks? Well, that was rocking a lot because my little isolation mounts here were broken. You can see how long this one was broken. There's only this little bit here holding right here on this side where my thumb's at, holding on this one. And this one was basically about 80% let go on the other side. There's one of these on each side. Now, I hadn't looked up parts for this engine for a while, and I was curious as to, I couldn't remember what year this one was, but if you go to marineengine.com, that website is your friend when it comes to outboards and outboard motors and engines and stuff like that. Has to do with marine grade stuff. Well, inside here, I'm going to bring you in close, and you're not going to be able to read it, but you'll know where it's at. So right in here, there's a little frost plug. It's kind of hard to see. Right behind there. See that little circle right there? That has numbers stamped on it. And like I said earlier video, earlier in this video, there was a tag here that would tell you the model and serial number of your particular outboard. Well, if that's missing, you can go right on here and get some information off of there. And that number, for instance, I took a picture of it and then took it in the house and did some research. Right there, I don't know if you can see that very well. Let's see here. But it was a 35903A on there. So what I did is went on to marineengine.com, looked up Evinrude, typed in that number, and you start typing in the number, things start to populate. Sure enough, 35903A popped up. And I was able to look that information up, and I found out this is obviously it's a 35 horse according to the hood, but people have been known to change hoods out on things. So this one actually is a 35 horse, 1979 35 horse Evinrude. And I was able to look up that particular part, the isolation mounts, on the schematics. They got beautiful schematics on that website. There again, I'm not sponsored by marineengine.com. The closest I ever got to being sponsored by marineengine.com is they sent me a bunch of stickers to give out to people. I'm not sure who all wants stickers, but I never gave them out. But I've ordered quite a bit of stuff for them. The nice thing is about them is you can go find their part number. You can do some more research on that part number, and you can buy it from them or you can buy it from somebody else. But I'm just saying they've got a perfect website to use. I like to buy stuff from them, especially when it comes to carburetor kits and it comes to ignition kits. I like to buy them from them. You might pay a little bit more, but you're getting a better quality, better fitting item than if you go onto the Jungle website and buy stuff off of there, because it's that stuff, a lot of that's made out of Chinesium, and it's hard not to buy Chinesium anymore, but I stepped on a grease rag and it stuck to my shoe. Anywho, without further ado though, we're going to pull this out in the yard and we're going to fire it up because we want to hear it run. And I can run it without those motor mounts on there. It's going to wiggle a lot more, but it doesn't stop it from running. And then I can put my boat cover on it, and then when I get my other isolation mounts, I can put them back on it, brand new ones, and it'll stabilize things, and I can take this boat out on the lake. Let's pull her out and see if we can get her to run. Let's go ahead and tip this back up. I'll pick up my grease rag mess here I got going. Funny part about it is as you get the paint off, this camo paint off, the primer underneath the silver is also green. So you got to be careful because I did go through some of the silver, expose some of the green. It's just the way it is. Let's push this on outside. Well, can't push it out there with that up. I'll lower this down. Now, as far as continuity of videos go, I started this boat video a long time ago already. Well, that thing just really, nothing holding the top end in place with that being gone. I'm gonna get her out here so I can get some water on it and not flood my shop. All right, here ought to work. I'm gonna go ahead and pump up some fluid here. Here again, no choke on this one. We're gonna turn it to a, let's see here. Let's see what it does. You gotta turn the water on first. Are you gonna fire? Oh yeah. Not peeing yet. She's clear. Now what I do like about these old boats see if this will make a liar out of me or not here, is turn the key to on. Even though it's got electric start, it's also got a pull start. Let's see how easy it pulls. It's usually all you got to give it. Now cold, you'd have to pull it a few more times, obviously. But warmed up, you just give her half a pull. Just a little. She's running. That's when you know she's tuned right. Woo! They don't run much better than that, boys. I just pulled the fuel off. I like to run my carburetor dry every time. That way I don't get anything sitting in my carburetor doing things to my carburetor. There we go. Mission accomplished. All right, all we got left is get our motor mounts in and then we'll be ready to go. Not sponsored by this boat cover company, so, and you guys know even if I was, you'd get my honest opinion either way. This one's vacuum sealed. Listen to that. Let's see what all we got here. Now this one I bought because it was said it was a 14 to 16 foot boat cover with a certain amount of girthiness to the boat. And let's see if it fits. As you guys know, I like to keep my boats clean. So I like to put covers on them. Let's see, this cover seems like a pretty heavy duty cover. It's pretty heavy canvas. I like finding that sticker that says front. And they put that on the outside of the cover. Huh, that's nice. Let's just get the front up here in the front. Work our way back. Now seeing as it's the summertime, I'm not worried about trying to keep a snow load on this particular cover. The elastic in here feels pretty good. I'm not pulling this one up too tight just yet. Got another one right here. The thing nice about this little thinner boat is the frame on the trailer is right out to the outside edge, which makes it easier for me just to run these around. Now eventually what I like to do is put me some loops, some J-hooks as it were, on the trailer and sew a loop in the end of these so I don't have to ever take them off of the cover itself. I like to go ahead and shorten them up so they're not dragging on the ground, but not so short that I can't release them and you have something to pull on to retighten them. Don't forget to burn the ends off. Otherwise, they'll unravel on you. Well, I can't be too mad at that. It's not it's not oversized. I'll have to look in the ad. I'm pretty sure this was a 14 to 16 foot boat. But yeah, it's covered in my trolling motor. Water will cascade off of it. This is a pretty decent denier, and it's got a decent cord inside, rubber or elastic cord. But I'm able to pull it down pretty much everywhere. The water will run off of here, really nice. I put some cardboard back here. That's to keep cats out. Cats love to crawl up in a boat and piss all over it. I hate that. I have to do that. That keeps me from hurting the cats. All right. Well, that's cool. But anyway, like I said, that's a 14 foot long by, I got a tape measure here, let's just get a rough idea how wide it is here. I'm trying to remember at the back. Here again, this cover would have covered a 16 foot boat, I think, very easily. So he's like 6 feet wide at the back. But I'm also covering the bimini top there, so that's protected and not hanging out in the weather, but by golly, that'll work. All I got left to do is get my motor mounts in, and I'll be ready to take that boat fishing. That's exciting. The only thing I really want to do yet is drain the gear oil and make sure no water got in it. So part of me says do that now. So we're going to. Now, one important thing I want to show you when you're draining the gear oil on your outboard, especially an old Evinrude, see this Phillips screw here? Do not remove that. That's part of the shift dog mechanism inside there. You want to remove the flathead that matches this flathead up here. Now, we did run and spin this, but most generally the water will sit on the bottom of the gear oil here. And when you pull this out, if you see water come out, that means your seals need replaced in your gearbox, because one of your seals are leaking water. Just like that, nothing but oil's coming out. It's way darker than I thought it would be. I'm glad I'm changing it. Once I pull this upper plug out, it should run a little easier. And we'll let that drain. As you guys know, I've been using this in all my gearboxes for a long, long time. Good stuff. I won't explain why, but it is some of the best gear oil you can put in your gearbox on your outboards. And we're gonna fill this up until it comes out this top hole here. That's how we know it's full. There it is. She's full. I always go ahead and put the upper plug in first, and that creates a seal, a vacuum, so when you pull this out, very little oil will spill out when you put this plug in. You just stick this plug in and you lose very little oil at all, not enough to even matter. Here again, I don't even have it tight yet. It's not leaking anything. Go wipe off the excess and you're done. Just like that, you've changed the gear oil in your gearbox. Easy peasy. Now, the reason I took the time to show you the gearbox oil changes, that did not take long at all. That was very quick, and it is cheap insurance overall. We're going to put the cover back on, pull it back down. We'll park this boat back out in the parking lot and hopefully go fishing real soon. Now I can get my next project started in here in the shop, that this is out of the shop, and keep working down my list of to-dos. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative and fun, and be good to one another. And remember, if it ain't broke, fix it till it is. And get your 1 hour a day in. 1 hour a day, you can move your project along quite a bit. Just 1 hour a day. Even got a whole clock up here. I forgot to hit it today, but I got well over an hour in, but just 1 hour a day. Do what makes you happy. This is Michael, and I'm out.